I'll be Texas bound and I find. I tell you, I had Jerry Reed playing over the radio.
Hey, that's what we need. Can't be.
What's going on, everybody? It is Kate and the Diesel Freak live streaming via satellite. Welcome back. I know this is long overdue, but you know what? This is a special episode of the Saturday show. Do me a favor, smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. You know what the drill. Oh boy, the Saturday show is back. And I tell you what, I've been needing to do this episode for a while, but today I just decided, you know what? Last week it was just overdue. So please share everybody that joins the stream. Be sure to like again, subscribe, like, comment, share. You don't want to miss out when I do something or post something crazy. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Kane the Diesel Freak. You don't miss out on the crazy posts, responses, or anything else I put out on the world of the internet. Even replying to girls that are crazier than me, but that's just because I'm one crazy B word. But that's just me. Hell. As they say, the women are crazy and the men are, well, just hellraisers. Thursday night, you guys heard me deal with the noobs. And, yeah, I am one person that if I deal with noobs, yeah. Jackson Johnson got exposed Thursday night, and Jeffrey got exposed Friday night. Now, I don't know if it's just me, folks, but I'm going to tell you what, Alabama fans are some of the weirdest and some of the most, and I say this with whole heart, most drunk fans in all college football. I mean, the first minute it's, we're back. The next minute, we're beep. So I don't know, either they just drink too much whiskey or liquor, but something's gone wrong with their fan base. I'm going to tell you now. And I think pretty obviously, I pointed this out the other day. I said the only reason Tennessee is in the March Madness tournament is that they're compensating for their football team absolutely being terrible and sucking. Well, I think that's pretty much a demonstration of what's going on today currently at March Madness. And let me be honest, I've been watching some of the March Madness, but the only reason I have is because Iowa State's been an interesting team. Now, I've heard Iowa State fans say if this is the turnaround point, that they come back and win the Big 12. Well, Matt Campbell left for Penn State, so my question is, what's going to be going on with the play calling at Iowa State to help them win the Big 12 championship this year for college football? As always, the link is in the comments section. So, questions, comments. I'm taking calls from the news to the dummies to everything else in between. You never know who pops in and pops out. And I apologize for the excessive noise. In a bit of a weird setting. Normally I'm in the studio, but the studio is getting a makeover redone. But I do appreciate this stream going on. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting episode of the Saturday show, the return of the Saturday show. But again, do me a favor, smash the like button, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. I posted the link to join on my Twitter. If you don't follow me on Kane the Diesel Freak on Twitter, be sure to follow me on Twitter. You never know what crazy responses I have for anybody. From the most high celebs to, well, the fake news and Paul Feinbaum. I don't know if that guy's drank too many liquors, Alabama-style liquors, but that's just me. And even the heck, I thought that the one guy, the goof father, the fan of the SEC channel, was really starting to lose his marbles talking last night and Thursday night. Now, I've dealt with a lot of crazy fans in my lifetime, and that's only because I'm 22, but that's just not my point. But, hey, I'm here today, Saturday show. I'm sorry I was a little late. Some things just came up, but, hey, I'm streaming right now, live, and you're hearing my voice. So, what can you argue with that? I mean, I can't argue. I mean, anybody that drives to Peterbilt, can't argue with that. Kenworth. I'm going to tell you what Ohio State fans, that the Buckeyes are going to be back this year. We're going to be more dominant than we were before. And Indiana's going to have a rude awakening coming October 18th at Bloomington, Indiana. Now, okay, Indiana fans, you can stop yipping and yapping like you guys are back. No. You guys are not that. This was just one stunt that Kurt Cignetti had to pull out of his bag because of Coach Saban being gone. Like, this is not like Indiana's going to be, doing this for a long time. Like, Kurt Cignetti's only here for a certain amount of time as the head coach of Indiana, according to his contract. So, let me be perfectly clear. So, he's only got a certain amount of time before he's either re-signing with Indiana or he goes to a different college program. Speaking of which, Caleb DeBoer, the head coach at Alabama, his contract is going to be coming up here in 3 years with the Crimson Tide. Either he re-signs with the Crimson Tide as their head coach or he moves on. Because after last year and the ass whooping he took courtesy of Georgia, 28-7. Now, who does not want to lose a game like that? Now, in my opinion, Georgia would have easily beat them 65-7. Just perfectly being honest, but I guess Kirby Smart wasn't one of wasting an ounce talent against Ole Miss. That's just me, like I said, folks. But like I said, the call link is in the comments. It's on my Twitter. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter, I have my comments and the not guilty comments. You're probably asking, Caden, what's the not guilty comment? Well, I've said some stuff. Well, yeah, but that's only because I'd rather do something else than be a certain fan of a fan base. Like I said on Twitter, I'd rather suck on my ex-girlfriend's than be an Alabama or Auburn fan. And that's a fact there, folks. Now, Jackson Johnson, let me say this. You can call me crazy for saying that kind of comment, but I'm just telling the truth on my end. See, when you're the diesel freak, there's a lot more that goes around than what they say, what goes around comes around. Well, for me, it's more of what comes around than goes around. If you get my drift there, folks. And that's not with the Canadian joke. That's just me being me. See, when you're Caden the Diesel Freak, you're stuck in a homeschooling group full of nerdy girls that I don't know why the hell I got stuck with a bunch. Well, but that's not my point. My point is just be careful, folks, when you're big and somebody like me. Now, I've said some crazier stuff on here, but I won't get into that further detail for this episode. But we will be back with more commercial. We're going to go on a commercial. We're on a 60-second commercial break. I'm going on a 60-second commercial break, but the call and link is in the comments. But you'll be seeing more farm vlogs also on my YouTube channel exclusively, and also on my Twitter at KND's3. By the way, follow for more content of that. But we are going to commercial break, but we'll be back with more of the special edition of the Saturday Show, brought to you by yours truly. Back in a moment. Thank you for the commercial break there, folks. It took me a minute there and some difficulties. As you would say, as they say, commercial errors. Not on my part. But that's just for the commercial part of things. Excuse the excessive noise, but this is a on the road edition. But we are back on the show and live from a Peterbilt 389. And I'll tell you what, folks, this season of the farming edition of the farming series brought to you by Caden the Diesel Freak on my Twitter and Instagram, or not Instagram, but Twitter at Caden. Because you never know who shows up to the show. But I'll tell you what, this season should be good. We're just playing the waiting game, and then we'll be kicking it into high gear for the rest of the month, and then, yeah, we will be really kicking it away. And this episode is not sponsored by any agricultural equipment brand or any company. I do got to give a big shout out to John Deere. Always. John Deere, nothing runs like a deer. For the amazing package a few months ago I received, and obviously the boots I received also from through John Deere. Not through John Deere, but I purchased from the reseller for John Deere. But I will say John Deere does do some great work with me, and they've been great to those who I know and those I have worked with over the years as a farmhand and labor. Not like in a hostler or something, but more of a farm labor. But that's just me, folks, and that's just yeah. Ouch. A whole lot of it. So, farming season 2026, anybody's asking, I think it'll be good, and I think it'll be absolutely phenomenal. And to be completely fair, it'll be good this time of year, and I know it'll be good. But speaking of which, and I think, and like I said, I think it'll be a good year. If not, I think it'll be a better year than last year. Because last year was an absolute nightmare for us down here on my side of the bridge, or on the side of the county line. But that's just me. But you never know. A year could be crazier than most, or but you never know, and you never know who shows up on any given day, given year, given month, given week, from your parts guys to everybody else that you work with. Now, I don't. Let me just say this: I don't deal with companies that are terrible, and I don't deal with companies that uh trying to think that are terrible people. I deal with companies that are good, and that's why John Deere is always mentioned on my YouTube channel. John Deere. Now, John Deere sending me that box a few months ago was honestly awesome, and I could never thank the folks at John Deere always for that, because that package was great. And you never know what you get yourself into. John Deere sends you a box. But I do have to give John Deere again a big shout out for the amazing box and the boots that I'm wearing currently. They're comfortable. I love them, and I've only had them for a couple of weeks, and they've done me fun. And like the smaller jobs I've been doing, like working on mowers and everything else. And be honest, without John Deere, you know what but that's just enough of me rambling about John Deere and how awesome those folks are. Those folks are. A big shout out to John Deere. Always a big shout to John Deere. In any case, like, they've been awesome to me, and you never, like, in my lifetime with John Deere, there's been many crazy times and many crazy days I've spent at John Deere. And I'll tell you a fond memory of mine with John Deere, and I guess this part of the episode is going to be this segment of this episode is called Take Me to the Good Old Days. Well, I guess we're going to go back in time today. Well, I'll tell you one time, my buddy's grandpa and I were my buddy's grandpa and I were at John Deere grabbing parts. And I'll tell you, everybody at the John Deere dealership knew my buddy's grandpa, who I worked for many years. And I will tell you, and this is no lie, folks, that if I were a betting man, I would say at least 96% of the folks at the dealership, if they've been there for long enough, they knew who it was. And I'm going to be completely honest. That's how amazing that old man was. And I do have to give him a big shout out. And he knows who he is, and he's watched the show before. And he actually cracked up. He was laughing at the episode of the Monday show with Mullen. By the way, please check that show. Please check that out. From the baddest Buckeye, I have memories of some of the most legendary people I've crossed. And I say legendary, but I mean legends, old timers to everything else in between. I hope to share the stories one day with a sweetheart and with, hopefully I share those stories with my nieces and nephews one of these days about somebody that I have memories of going to John Deere dealers with and getting parts, or going to Peterbilt and going to get truck parts. And man, I'm going to be honest with you folks. I have to give my buddy's grandpa a shout out, because that guy changed my life. But he looked at me and said, he trusted me at the young age of 13 to work. And you know what? Today, March 16th, 2026 was a special day. Diesel Freak 316 and Diesel Freak 319 was when I planted my first acres of corn when I was 13 years old. And that's with almost a $500,000 piece of equipment. Well, two pieces of equipment almost worth a $500,000 together. And he jumped in the tractor with me and said, "Son, this is how you do this and this." He said, "Do this and this and go home." And he rode in the passenger seat while I drove. And I tell you, I planted at least 6 to 10 acres of corn that day. And surely enough, he told everybody, like the new guy, that I planted some of his corn, and this was right behind his house. Right behind his house. So the farm is to the left of the old house of his, and God rest his soul, but the expression on his face when I was planting his corn so straight, because of it being in a new tractor, and it was basically a brand new tractor from the local dealer, made his day. So I have to give him a big shout out, and I know he's watching from above, and heaven has a new friend to walk alongside the good Lord who lives in heaven. And so I'm going to dedicate this stream in his memory, because he was so legendary and so cool that you could never miss a day on him. You know, even like in Bad Health, he still drove his little truck out to the shop, a little old Ford Ranger. And I'd say the frame was probably helped rebuilt probably many times, but man, I had $1 for every time. That guy was so freaking awesome, and just the way he was and the way he did things. I could never ask for a better friend, boss, and overall just a great guy to work for and treat me like a grandson and treat me like I was one of them boys growing up. So I do have to give a big shout out to you, to that special person who's in heaven, to Grandpa. So, Grandpa, I know you're hearing this, and Grandpa, I know heaven is tuning into the show. So, shout out to Grandpa and to Grandpa, and I love you, Grandpa. I miss you, and yeah, you know, I'll hopefully. I hope you and Johnny Cash are singing above. But speaking of friends, I've got Daniel Gygax on the line.
Yo.
How are we doing, Daniel?
Not too bad. I am trying to get everything ready to go for Las Vegas next week, where WVU missed the tournament, but they have Big 10, Big 12, and Big East because of their Fox Association. They played in a tournament there at the MGM Grand, so of course I need to go to that.
And if nobody knows, that's Daniel Gygax, the College Football Mafia, and that's at the other Gygax on Twitter, Instagram, and all other social media platforms. Daniel, you are actually joining me for a special episode of the Saturday Show in honor of my boss, the late, great, and I call him Grandpa because that's how he was to me. He was my grandfather, a grandfather to me, and a great, father to many children, to four grandchildren. But you know what? He never will get to be his great grandchildren, but I know he's watching from above, and he's watching this from up in heaven with Johnny Cash, and I know he's singing with Johnny Cash. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
You're actually, and this is not only a special episode of the Saturday Show, Daniel. This is an episode of the Saturday Show I never do. You're probably asking why.
Well, it sounds like you're in your car, but
I'm actually in a Peterbilt.
Okay. Is it the one that's in the picture?
No, different truck.
Okay.
I am currently waiting. I'm currently dumping a load of crap. Currently,
that would do it.
Pretty good. We're keeping her steady.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to.
And I shared the stream, so anybody who wants to come on, there's the link for you. And yeah, I know I've got the Bourne brother. I got the Bourne photo of him beating the crap out of Gardner, Sauce Gardner's older brother that played for Michigan. But that's just because I'm a Buckeye. You can't respect the Buckeye around here. Dang it.
How's the song go? Don't give a damn about the whole state.
The whole state of Michigan. The whole state of Michigan. The whole state of Michigan.
Don't give a damn about the whole
state of Michigan because we're from Ohio.
I think Mullins played that song 100
And speaking
times.
of the man of the hour who joined me on the Monday show, on the Monday crap show, because, well, you know why it's called the crap show anyways.
Yeah.
But I sent Mullen the link to join the show, and I figured maybe him or Nathan be here popping on.
Nathan is usually busy on Saturdays. I don't know Moen's schedule for a weekend.
Because if you don't remember the Monday episode of the show, Mullen came on.
Yeah, you and you need to watch Big Trouble in Little China before tomorrow's show, Moen After Dark. I watched it Thursday. I think it's the first time I've watched it in, I don't know, 25 years or something like that. Still holds up.
Okay, is it because that the next episode of the Moen After Dark show consists of a movie?
No. He what was it? A couple weeks ago, he asked everybody to watch the movie The Warriors.
Right.
Sunday, and he was talking about it, and he's like, "Okay, the movie for this upcoming Sunday is Big Trouble in Little China," which, like I said, I haven't seen it in, I don't know, maybe 25 years plus.
Okay.
And it still holds up. It's got Kurt Russell. Oh, I'm trying to remember the other girl's name.
Pam Anderson?
No.
Because I feel like she's been in the movie industry for a long time.
No, I'm trying to remember her name.
Pamela Anderson. The MILF of movies. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Sorry, I had to use that reference because she's been in so many movies. Kicking butt.
Hold on.
But Daniel, let me ask.
Kim Cattrall. That was who I was thinking.
Kim Cattrall, I'll be dang. But let me ask you, Daniel. Did you ever think I would ever do an odd episode of this show ever one of these days?
It's not that odd, but I've there's other people that have done their show from the car.
Well, this one I don't really post about, but
yeah.
Hey. And I gave and I had by the way, I don't know if Greg from Peek Around the Corner College Football told you, I popped by a few times.
I've seen you in the chat, and you made a phone call in, and
actually 2 phone calls.
Okay, I remember the one. Like I said, between Greg and Mark Rogers and no crap, I can't remember his name. Justin Walker, Coos. All those guys, absolutely. We wouldn't have got the show off the ground without them.
Well, and I've had more of a, and I'll say this just because, if anybody knows of the situation between me and Mark Rogers that was well known, I had a few comments to Mark about some other things, and that's why I haven't returned to the Voice of College Football Network, because of some comments and because of some between me and Mark, some beef that we had. But Greg and I, but as far as Greg and I, Minnesota Greg, shout out to Minnesota Greg for an awesome episode.
Yeah.
A great conversation. But I will say,
I'm trying to let's see here. I'm looking because they've got construction on the drive down to Las Vegas. They've got construction going on. But it's 561 miles, and Google is saying 8 hours and 12 minutes, and it's all freeway. Usually it's 8 hours on the dot.
I figured you'd be flying.
No. The and that 8 hours is fairly easy to do because it's 560 miles. Divide that by 8 hours. That means that you're pulling into Vegas averaging 70 miles per hour, and there's sections of Interstate 15 and 58 where you're out in the middle of nowhere that you can just fly. The best time I ever made it to Las Vegas, when was this? This was 07.
Hey, hey, Daniel. I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you hold on to the show for a little bit? I've got something.
Sure. Sure. All right. Let's talk Duke before we go too far into this.
And I'll be back, folks, here in a minute. So if anybody calls in, Daniel, just make sure you scream for my name.
Yeah, I'm going to badmouth Duke for a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. This is unrestricted. Just so anybody know, cussing and cursing is allowed.
I'm not going to make it vulgar. I'm going to just
well, you know it's allowed on my show, Guy Gag, so
yeah, no. Here's the thing with Duke. Duke has the worst 5-year attendance of any school in the ACC. It's awful. Duke football averaged 5 years 23,407. That's not good at all. That right there, the building sits about 40. So you're looking at about 15,000 empty seats per game. That doesn't look good on TV. Now, is Manny Diaz doing a okay job to fix it? Somewhat. I'm going to sit there and say that it's definitely better than what they had before. But all this Duke to the Big Ten, I'm still not buying it. And the reason why is Duke is a part of the Ivy League Library Plus system, along with, of course, the 8 schools that are in the Ivy League. And then you've got MIT, Caltech, you've got John Hopkins, Stanford, and Berkeley Labs, the one up on the hill, and Livermore Labs, all part of that consortium. And we're talking billions of dollars and a lot of prestige just due to the fact that we're talking about being a part of that Ivy League library system. Now, would Duke give that up to join the Big Ten? Maybe. That was the sticking point with Stanford a couple of years ago. Stanford said flat out no. They didn't want to give up their Ivy League Library Plus status to join the Big Ten Academic Alliance. And I get it. I don't know how much money that Big Ten Academic Alliance makes, but the fact that you're tied to the Ivy League, that helps. That helps with recruiting. That helps with a lot of things. And Stanford's not poor. Stanford, I think they had the second or third biggest endowment fund of any university in America. Number one's Harvard, and I want to say Princeton's number 2. So by the time you look at it, yeah. So by the time you look at it, Duke's biggest problem is that it's one of those nobody shows, nobody cares type thing that whenever, yes, they're great at football, but I brought this up on a Big 12 show that Duke is just Wake Forest with a better basketball program. And Wake Forest numbers are not good either.
Hey, Daniel, I am back. Sorry about that.
Okay, hold on. Let me
But to your point, Daniel, on Duke,
yeah.
like that, the only thing that Duke's got that's like good to the program name is their basketball team, and the
Yeah, and
legacy of
their basketball it's a top 5 basketball program. We were arguing whether or not it was the number 1 basketball program in the world, and I'm like, well, you drive 20 miles over to Chapel Hill, and I'll probably say that's number 1. But Duke, easily top 5 program that you have in America whenever it comes down to basketball.
Well, can I argue that Kentucky is a great basketball program?
Yeah, Kentucky is.
Because men's basketball wise, it's always been either Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Gonzaga, or like Georgetown.
Gonzaga, throw Georgetown and Gonzaga out. Georgetown had 1 championship. I want to say that was 86, and Gonzaga's made Final Four twice, and that's it. They've never won a championship.
But they're great programs overall.
They're great programs, but they're not a top 5 program.
But here's my other thing.
Yeah.
You know, I said this yesterday. The only reason Tennessee is as far as they are at men's basketball is because they're compensating for their football team being so terrible, and especially after Tennessee lost, and especially that loss Tennessee took last season to Ohio State in the playoffs in the Horseshoe, 42-7.
Yeah, but whenever you get right down to it, all of those SEC schools realized that they had basketball whenever they start spending money. All of them spend a ton of
millions.
Cash. Yeah, all of them spends a ton of cash on football. It's just that they realized that they had basketball there too, and they start spending money on it.
Well, can I argue and say that the only reason Indiana in basketball is terrible because they're investing millions of dollars into Curt Cignetti just because the guy won a national championship only once in his life, in his career as a head coach at Indiana. But yet Indiana already lost about 90 to 89% of their roster. So they're going to have a setback.
No, he won another championship at Indiana.
You said what?
He's won a national championship at the other Indiana, the Division II school in Pennsylvania.
I'm talking like D1. I'm talking like
I know, but I'm talking about the fact that whatever they said, oh well, he just won his first national championship at Indiana. It's like, no, he's got another one.
Yeah, but the only reason he was part of the other championship teams was because he was also an assistant coach to Coach Saban at Alabama.
Yeah, he had a couple there whenever he was assistant at Alabama. Now, here's something else. Nick Saban was the defensive back coach whenever Curt Cignetti's dad, Frank Cignetti, was the head coach there at WVU. Frank Cignetti didn't do a great job there at WVU. I want to say he was I want to say it was 12 and 15 or something like that. It wasn't good numbers. Hold on. Now I'm going to have to look.
Right, but at the same time, here's my thing. And I'm only saying this as a Buckeye fan, but also somebody who, I heard it, I heard Only Talk Sports last week, and I'm
He
like,
was seven.
Jeffrey,
Okay, Frank Signetti was 17 and 27 the 4 years he was at WVU. He took Frank Signetti took over for Bobby Powell.
right?
Then he left there. I can't remember where he was assistant at, but then Frank Signetti ended up there at IUP. How many years was he at IUP? He was there forever. 20.
No,
That's
I
about
get
right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, Daniel. But let me get to this point here that I was gonna make. Like
Yeah.
I was on Only Talk Sports last night with you know who at Only Talk Sports that talk sports somewhat, but tries not to.
I don't know
I
what
said,
Only Talk Sports is.
you know Jeffrey from Alabama, the Alabama show with Jackson and
Oh
Jeffrey.
yeah. That's
I told
yeah.
Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey said my words were what I said last year made me look like an idiot. I said until Kurt Signetti wins a national championship and wins against a top team like Ohio State, I wasn't believing that Indiana was a legit team. And then I literally told him I didn't even say it last night, but I'm only going to say it here because it's my YouTube channel. Yeah, Jeffrey proved me wrong, but how many times? Once. Will Kurt Signetti go back? Will Kurt Signetti go back? Not likely.
Here's the thing with Kurt Signetti. If you look at his record overall, he won a FCS championship there with James Madison. He won a Division II championship with Indiana, Pennsylvania. Whenever he took that Indiana job, nobody was expecting him. I mean, somewhat of a turnaround, but nothing to where they won a national championship in year 2 with him there. He's a really smart coach that has everything that he wants there in Indiana. And Indiana's basketball, men's basketball, the reason why they've got issues right now is they've whiffed on coaches. So not getting the coach that you need there, Indiana, is going to cause you issues.
Right. No, I get what you're saying there, Daniel. Like, nobody expected Kurt Signetti to do something as... In his first year, he went to the playoffs but lost to Notre Dame. And then, you know, he made the press conference that said, you know, all I do is win and Google me. And, you know...
That was at the initial press conference there at Indiana, his very first press conference there. That's where he said it. He said, "Who are you?" It's like, "I win, Google me." That was his initial press conference.
Right, and it's like, if you say, like, all I do is win and Google me, either you're delusional or you've done something right. Or you're going to do something.
Well, I mean,
in my mind,
he won a natty for Indiana, and Indiana, until the past 2 years, Indiana was listed as the worst Power 4 program in America for football. Her numbers were awful. I mean, at least Vanderbilt in like the 20s and 30s won a championship. Indiana's done nothing. So if he even went, let's say he went let's say year one he went 7-5. Let's say last year he went. Let's say 9-3. That's a huge improvement from where Indiana football was before.
Right.
Hold on. Let me look at Indiana's attendance numbers. Now you got to remember, last year's attendance numbers weren't that good because they weren't that bad either. 48,000. Their 5-year that was for 2024. Their 5-year average is was 43,886. Last year they averaged 51,184, and I want to say that the building in Bloomington sits about that. I want to say that their stadium there sits about 51,000, 52,000. Not that it's an okay sized stadium, but they're not going to sell out. I mean, this is the first time they ever sold out games on a consistent clip. So, okay, Caden, I'm going to have to go. I got to get ready for. I got to get all this stuff packed so I can leave for Vegas.
Sorry, folks. I am shifting gears currently, but thank you, Daniel, for joining the show. And shifting gears, filming is good. We're going on the commercial break, and we'll be back here in a minute. Call link is in the comments, so don't be afraid to call it. We'll be right back. And thank you for the commercial break, folks. Sorry that my internet was going a little funky there for a minute. Well, welcome back to the commercial break. Thank you, Daniel, as always, from the Kalispell Mafia for popping in. But to your point, cursing that he did what he did. I mean, as Jeffrey from Only Talk Sport would say, yeah, I was proven wrong. And the odds were against me afterwards. But I'll be honest, folks, that loss to Miami in the national championship game set me off really well. But then also, yeah, as a Buckeye fan, I didn't like when Indiana won. Yeah. But to my point from earlier, this episode is in a Peterbilt 389. Yeah. I've got a very special person next to me that I'm not going to let, I'm letting him do what he needs to do. If he wants to chime in, he can chime in, but we're going to call him Honey Badger just for now. And Honey Badger is somebody I worked for personally close by and family-wise for, I'd say, at least 9 years. 9 years. And their family has been good to me, and that's another reason why John Deere's been a big brand name to me. And that's how I got that package from a few months ago. By the way, just shout out to John Deere and the team there for the package. And even my boots. My boots are John Deere boots. Ooh, them brakes are, ooh. Sometimes you got to watch out for the dummy drivers out here. Ooh, Honey Badger just informed me that the car in front of us just had a blinker go out. Now, you never want to have a blinker light go out on the rear. No. Yeah. But this is a mixed episode. This is the episode of, well, everything else in between. You know, Honey Badger just said it right. It's the day in the life of a truck driver to watch out for the dummies on the road and, well, everything else in between. I could never disagree with Honey Badger.
You probably should sometimes.
Hey, I've never disagreed with you, Honey Badger. Let me just be clear on that. And yeah, I do have a friend whose name is Honey Badger. If anybody has a problem with that, that's on your end.
You better clarify that's my handle.
That's handle-wise. But also, there was an NFL safety called the Honey Badger. Tyrann Mathieu of the Arizona Cardinals was nicknamed the Honey Badger. So let me just say that they called him the Honey Badger for a reason. But we're only saying Honey Badger for now, just for the safety measure of it. But to Guy Gax's point, yeah, taking that L was I'm gonna leave that to Guy Gax for the next time he pops in. But to Jeffrey and Only Talk Sports, yeah, you proved me wrong, and your fan base proved me wrong after last week. And even Friday night, I didn't have nothing else to say because, well, I knew that my rear end was basically, well, caught in the bear trap. I guess you could say with the son of that. Because the baddest Ohio State fan was caught in the bear trap by an Indiana fan. Now, you never hear that on a good day.
No.
But I'll give the devil his due, and the devil his due. But you know what? I'd rather be an Ohio State fan than an Indiana fan or an Alabama fan. That's for sure. And speaking of the Honey Badger, the Honey Badger has been somebody that I've worked for closely for a long while. And speaking of, that's why this other segment of this episode is brought to you by John Deere. Now, not technically sponsored by John Deere, but you know what I mean. John Deere's done some good work with me on different occasions. But with planning 2026, I do advise anybody that drives around farming area, especially with Peterbilts and Kenworths, to please watch the roads. Because if you are a dummy driver and you don't see a heavy truck named a Peterbilt or a Kenworth or any tractor named a John Deere, to please be advised, they don't stop. You stay clear all the way, and you stay clear all the way. Either make a turn on an intersection or turn into a driveway, folks, because you don't want to have your insurance go up by 20%, because that is math you don't want to figure out. I tell you. Now, Honey Badger, on the other hand, can agree with me on that. Well, because most of our trucks are all Peterbilt, Kenworths, Freightliners, Freight Takers. Am I missing one, or am I on the book? I think I'm on the book. Oh, Chevy. Speaking of which, Chevy. Thank you, Chevy, for the amazing parts for those trucks. For the service truck and the backup truck. I do got to give them a big shout out. But yeah, Chevy's done some amazing work with those guys, Honey Badger and his crew. And I will say, Chevy, I'm sorry, but we are going to get the filters, the Chevy filters, swapped out on those trucks with a few cat filter kits. From my supplier. Well, not my supplier, but somebody I've dealt with, and I've got a couple of my other friends here that watch the channel that we deal with these certain people. So, Honey Badger and his crew are going to be getting these cat filter kits put on their Chevy. Because what's better than a Chevy diesel pickup than having Caterpillar filters on your pickup? Better oil filtration, better fuel filtration, and heck, better coolant filtration. And you get more power. I mean, nobody can disagree on that. No, I couldn't. But I know a lot of Priuses don't pay attention to the road, but that's just because either their driver's drunk or they got different hair color. I don't know. And that's why this is a special episode, because Honey Badger here has came across a few of them old weird-haired colored folks. Just for the particular reason I'm saying, but, you know. But please be advised, folks, when you're driving down the road to the countryside and you see Peterbilt's, Kenworths, and John Deere tractors going down the road, you stay out of their way. And you pull over to the side of the road because, yeah, like I said, insurance could go up, and, well, that's your fault that you decided to wreck a tractor or truck or semi. Oh, and we got commercial break. Honey Badger just informed me commercial break's coming up. So we'll be back here in the next minute. Well, welcome back to the commercial break. It was quicker than I expected, but Honey Badger just informed me he had a question. Honey Badger, it's good to hear your voice again, good buddy. How are you?
Doing good.
So, Honey Badger, tell me what's going on your mind there, buddy?
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, Honey Badger. What you got, buddy?
I'm just curious how the spring season is coming along. How's the equipment looking for the planting season?
Well, I'm telling you, you know what, Honey Badger? I'm glad you asked. Well, as you know, all the tractors have been accounted for, serviced, and checked, and the new planter is going to get its first acres put on it this year. So,
Let's go.
hey, you know what? I really can't complain. And the semis all got serviced, filters got changed, and fresh new 15W40. Shout out to John Deere for the bulk delivery last Thursday of 15W40. What can you complain about that now?
What varieties are you putting in the ground this year?
We've got actually DeKalb and Asgrow going into the ground.
Is that getting run through a Deere planer? Or?
Oh, yeah, of course. So what do you mean? I mean, what did I have to say there, bud? John Deere.
That's my bad.
Oh, you know what? On Honey Badger, it's been a while since Honey Badger's been in the business a little bit. He's been busy separate-wise. But, Honey Badger, you should remember, John Deere's the only brand that runs on this channel. Because, well, John Deere sent me that mystery box a few months ago.
Yeah.
And my boots are actually from a collab with John Deere.
Nothing runs like a deer.
Yes, sir. Always. And shout out to the crew at John Deere for the amazing talk I had with them regarding some stuff and some possible stuff I could be doing with them soon. Honey Badger.
You want to inform everybody about that, or are you keeping that a secret?
That's going to be a secret.
All right.
So, Honey Badger, let me ask you something.
Shoot.
Honey Badger, how long have we been working together for?
Oh, man. Quite some time, I suppose.
What would you say year-wise?
Can't say as I remember.
I was going to say at least 8 years
Okay.
because 2014 and then 16 I came back, 8, then 17, 18, and everything else. But the Honey Badger was one of the premier truckers on the road for these guys. And let me be honest, the Honey Badger, HB as you want to say, for the initials, was one guy you never wanted to cross on a road on a good day in a semi. And I know the noobs known as the Clown Talk Show from would not want to cross this guy in the Clown Mobile because the Clown Mobile would get rolled. And I mean rolled. Because this guy never fooled around with clowns on the road when he was in a truck. I mean, ask Honey Badger. What's up, Honey Badger? You got another question?
What's your thoughts on the X Series combines?
John Deere's X9 combines?
Yes, sir.
Overall, great machines, but just too many dang sensors. I'm telling you. Have you seen how many sensors are on them dang things?
Nope.
It's ridiculous. I think there's like at least over 400 sensors on that thing. From the belly to the rear. And even the cab's got like, it's a computer mess out in the under the guard sheet.
What's their new series tractor that they're coming out with?
Oh, you mean the 8RX? You mean the higher frame 8RX?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't hear the news on them.
Uh-uh.
Well, if you haven't followed John Deere, they released the new higher horsepower 8RX and 8R. Now they're up to 540 engine horsepower.
Goodness.
You thought you'd never see John Deere release a 500 horsepower road crowd tractor.
That's a monster.
Shout out to John Deere for the innovation. Because they were first in the game, and they were first to the class of the game to play, the high horsepower game. Now that's not being biased. That's a fact. See, Honey Badger's crew has got all 8230s, 8230 John Deere's, 8430s, and 8400s. That's all their crew's got. And 8330s.
4430.
4430s, 4440s. I mean, some of the most legendary numbers. Sorry, folks. The internet was being a little funky, and the honey badger and I were going through a rough spot there. Honey badger, are you hearing me clear, buddy?
I got you loud and clear.
But we've arrived to a spot, and honey badger jumping out because he's got to enter a code for the weight number of this truck. But the main question I think anybody should know is, hey, honey badger,
Yes, sir.
how did the diesel freak and the honey badger ever come together with all the other boys at the crew, at the badger compound?
I think it was a Sunday lunch, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And the honey badger is somebody that, has been in my shoes before, and has been, I guess you could say there's more of us than you think. Hey,
Are you saying homeschoolers?
more of, crazy old farm kid. What? It's not a bad thing. You know? You're a little crazy up here, but it's not too terrible. You know what I mean? But the honey badger and I have done a lot of stuff over the years. It's crazy. Oh, honey badger. Something must be going on. Oh, nope. Apparently he's got something covered or something. Oh. It. Oh, yeah. Dumb drivers. They don't know how to pay attention. No, they don't. Well, I'm going to tell you what, folks. If this isn't the best episode of this show with the honey badger, and shout out to honey badger. Honey badger is a badass. And, well, I need one person you don't want to cross. And that's, like Tyron Matthew, the honey badger. Yeah, he's honey badger. And I dang sure know Jackson and Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports would not want to cross the honey badger. Oh, no. And well, for them boys, but that's the hour. And I am thinking, oh, heck. This has been an awesome episode of the show. And, I just had to laugh of the day. Coach Mook is Jeffrey is a dumbass. Jackson is the jackass. And Godfather is the goofball. Well, there's the diesel freak and the honey badger. Hold on here, folks. I'm trying to wake up a dummy to answer his phone. Or not waking up someone. But, seeing that he hears it. Jeffrey's a dumbass. Jackson is a jackass. Father's a goofball. I don't know why that guy was and left that Walt Disney World. Oh, yeah. Jeffrey's a dumbass. Godfather is a goofball. Is a goofy SOB. Jackson is a jackass. Mark's a moron. And John Kennedy is, well, the baddest Irish fan I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm singing a little. And the honey badger and I are on the road always. And it's always good to come on here and say, the diesel freak is back, boys. And there's no goofballs on this episode. I guarantee you that. The only thing that's on the old people on an episode is the Decent Freak and a special guest. Shout out to the Honey Badger for being a special guest of the show. Honey Badger, it's a pleasure, sir.
Good to see you too, brother.
Hey, you know what? I'll say what. This has been a better episode of the show than the last episode I had, than a previous episode of the show. You know why? I'll tell you why.
What's that?
You ever have them goofballs that ever show up once in a while and it's like, good grief or good gravy? Why is this goofball?
No.
Yeah, I had an episode just like that.
Serious.
Oh, and so goofball mocked me for the way I sound on the internet. I said, what a goofball.
What a goober.
A goober? Really? You're saying the truth there, buddy. See, when the Diesel Freaks out here spitting the facts on YouTube here about Ohio State football and, well, every other fan base that like to talk crap about us, but we beat their butts. Well, I guess you could say people just like to do stupid stuff just to gain someone's ears. And what they don't want to hear is the consequence. Hey, Honey Badger.
Yeah.
You ever heard the saying, don't write checks with your mouth that you're can't cash?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, them fools found out quick what that really meant.
Who found out what?
That goofball, that goofer, he found out why you don't write checks with your mouth that you're don't cash.
You ought to tell them about your high school football days.
They know.
Linebacker.
Oh, they know. I've said it before on this YouTube channel. My experiences really help. And here's the other thing, Honey Badger. I've said as long as Ohio State can play aggressive, and they did last year early, hey, that helped us win the multiple games that would have thought we would have went back to the playoffs, but you know what? It's all right. We'll be back to win the national championship. Number 10's coming home to Columbus, and Indiana is going to be still at the bottom of the barrel here in a few years. So it'll be fine. And here's the better news. Here's the better news, Honey Badger. Coach Saban isn't coaching. He's at home retiring. Sitting with Miss Terry. As a special appearance by a dear friend of mine and I'm gonna possibly ask about doing a co-hosting a series on here, but I don't know about him co-hosting an episode of kicking and talking with an episode of the Honey Badger and the Diesel Freak, because I know it'd be too much and my audience would be booing me out of the building, but folks, that is actually going to do it for me as well. Honey Badger made a good point. So please do me a favor, and a big shout out again to Honey Badger for making that special appearance. But do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe, because you never know who pops on here. And I will be back 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Diesel Freak is signing off. And as the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin say, well, Stone Cold, shout out to you. And that's the bottom line, because the Diesel Freak said so. Have a great evening, folks.